Welcome to the Fempire podcast for women building empires where your health, relationships, and wealth rise together. I am your host, Jessica Joy. Let's sharpen the axe and dive in. Let's talk biggest needle movers in your workouts to create more tone, more shape, more tightness, and without this being like a part-time job in the gym. Okay, we want your workout protocols to give you more energy, not drain you, not feel like it's this regimen that takes away from your life. We're always looking at how can I operate in my health in a way that gives me more back. I feel better. I look better. I feel more energized. I feel more focused. I feel like a more vibrant version of myself, not some regimen that is like, oh, I have to do this so I can get more tone. I'm exhausted. No, that's a sign that you're doing it wrong. I'm probably operating more like a recommendation from men, bro science. Like, no, that's not how we do it here. I always wanted it to be toned, be tight. I wanted to be a bit more hourglass, but I'm not the type, even though I'm in the health fitness space, I've never been the type that's like, oh, I love the gym. The gym's my happy place. More workouts doesn't make me happier. I go to the gym because it gives me energy and I want to be strong. And I learned a long time ago that I always wanted to look at, okay, what's the strategy that will help me look really good, get the results I want, but I'm not spending more time in the gym than makes me, in a way, sad. Where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want so much of my life to be in the gym. I want my life to be in my life. I want to enjoy my workouts. I want to be energized by my workouts. I do not want to be depleted. I don't want to feel like it's this heavy thing that is required just so I can look and feel a certain way. And so I've really had that lens on this for years as I've created the method that I use. And so I want to share the biggest needle movers. Like if you just focus on these, you can work out 3 times a week and feel great, make progress with your health and body. And let's dive in. So I won't go into my whole story too much, but I used to be the person who would work out 5 to 7 days a week. I'd be sad if I missed a day. I'd be like, dang it, I didn't get to the gym today. But the funny thing is, when I was doing that, I was actually always either losing or gaining weight. It's like I couldn't maintain. It was rough. And that's a lot of time working out. Now, I'm not here to judge somebody for how much if somebody just loves getting to the gym and, it's a happy place, cool. But for me, I find that everybody has a balance and most people have a lot more priorities than being in the gym. So let's look at the biggest needle movers. Okay. So if our goal is tone and shape, okay, be toned, shape, strong, agile, etc., then we need to build muscle. That needs to be a huge priority. And yes, there's so many workouts out there like Pilates or going to a workout gym class, etc., that's focused on weights, etc. I want you to get like this one workout style gets you the best results. That's the lens I'm looking through. Okay, so this is strength training in a structured program with progressive overload, with a focus on building muscle. Legit building muscle, not just overall getting stronger, overall toning up. There's a difference. So you may already be familiar with this, but what this could look like is, if you're doing 3 times a week, this could look like a full body workout, an upper body, and a lower body. And within that, you're doing at least 3 sets of the exercise and working within a certain rep range. So you could be looking at, okay, I'm trying to hit 8 to 10 reps in this exercise. That means I'm choosing a weight that getting 11 reps is freaking like, I don't think I could do it. Okay, that matters. And then you take rest in between the sets. Now, you would do the same workout schedule, for example, for 4 weeks would be a great frame, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer, but let's just say 4. Okay, and then within that, you are tracking the reps and weights that you're using, and gradually you're able to get more reps or you're able to lift heavier within that same rep range. That is progressive overload. Okay, it's not guessing. It's not like, oh, I went to this class and I think I got an extra push-up this week. Look, I'm not going to knock any type of strength training. Yes, please go. And if you're just getting back into things, sometimes classes can be a great way to start. But I'm talking about once you know your way around the basics, then get your freaking butt into weight training. Okay, I have a 13-year-old daughter. The first thing I'm going to teach her about the gym is strength training with progressive overload. I'm not even going to take her to the classes. I'm like, she's smart. She can learn this. This is a skill every woman needs to have, in my opinion. Like, why wouldn't we? We need to be strong. We need to understand what an effective workout is, okay? And then you enjoy your freaking rest time. I'm stretching between sets. Half my workout is rest time. And I love it. That way I'm not going into the gym dreading this is going to be freaking miserable. No, I'm going to have some challenging sets. I'm going to track my reps and weights so I know I'm progressing and I'm being intentional. And then I'm going to enjoy my rest. And then it's not about even tons of exercises. There's so many workouts where I'm doing 4 exercises, 3 sets each, and I'm out. And that's the workout. Okay. But the big needle mover is hitting a certain rep range. It's repeating those workouts and hitting the progressive overload. So I know I'm building muscle. Now, as a woman, something I also want to share is you're not going to hit PRs in your luteal phase, okay? Or there are certain weeks where you are pushing it in the business or in your work, and you're probably not going to hit some PRs, and that's okay. If you've read the 4 agreements, the 4th agreement is to bring your best every day and to understand your best will look different on different days. It's like, okay, today my cup is 50% full, so 50% is actually my best. Okay, so we need to be cognizant of like, doesn't mean progressive overload does not mean hitting PRs every personal records or your best lift every week, but overall, we should be gradually lifting heavier, type of thing. Even if somebody's starting out and they're doing 2 full body workouts a week with progressive overload, great. What about the people who love their Pilates or love their running? Totally get it. Love their dancing, whatever it is. Cool. 2 baseline progressive overload strength training workouts a week. Just like they need to be non-negotiable. I'm just being forthcoming. Okay. But that's how we'll customize things to individuals if they have certain preferences. It's like baseline, we hit those. So then after 4 weeks, you get a new set of exercises, but in a similar structure. We're still focused on progressive overload. Now, maybe we're working in a different rep range. Maybe we're adding a superset here and there. But for the most part, we want to be building muscle that's going to help increase testosterone, increase HGH hormone, which are some of your top fat-burning hormones. And if you want a physique that's toned, you need to have a decent amount of muscle to push against the skin to create the tone. This is what happens when people lose fat, but they don't have a lot of muscle. They get the kind of a rough term, but skinny fat look. They look a little soft. I remember I looked like this for years because I would do strength training in a circuit style format where I was focused on how many reps could I get in 45 seconds. I wasn't hitting progressive overload. It was just as much cardio as strength training. I wasn't gradually lifting heavier. And it was so interesting to me as I would get leaner, I still never had the tone I wanted because I wasn't building the muscle that I would have needed to get the tone I want. Now, here's the other banger, makes me stoked. When you build more muscle and focus more on these types of workouts, it's going to be easier to maintain a lean physique because your metabolism comes up. And these types of workouts do not get your appetite just jacked up like intense cardio. I remember doing, my dedicated, 5 to 7 days a week cardio circuit workouts like a champ, having my timer, like, oh, I could crush those. And then, what do you know? Most nights I'm freaking ravenous and overeating. You have to look at the whole picture. Progressive overload within a structured program. Amazing. So now maintaining it's like my appetite doesn't get jacked up. And I just finally have enough muscle on my body to get that toned look, especially the leaner I get. So the next piece that I find missing in most protocols is strengthening the deep core. So I like to incorporate this at least in the first 8 weeks of somebody who hasn't done deep core. So for me personally, postpartum, I had diastasis recti, where you have a gap between your 6-pack and it contributes to this belly pooch that doesn't seem to go away. And you actually need to avoid very common ab exercises like planks and sit-ups and crunches and Russian twists and all the things that are supposedly good. They can actually make your belly pooch worse because they're making that gap wider and they can contribute to leak pee and back pain issues. And so your deep core, even if you do not have diastasis, even if you haven't had kids, even if you're 50 years old and you've never been pregnant, like every woman needs a strong deep core. It's your deepest core layer. It's like your own inner corset. And for most women, they don't know how to activate these muscles. Therefore, if you can't activate them, how can you even strengthen them? We actually want them activated in most exercises for optimal core engagement. But if they are weak and underactivated, then it will contribute to a bit of a wider waistline. If we're looking for more of that hourglass plus optimal health, then a strong deep core we need to do. So learning how to activate these muscles is a skill. If you, I have so many trainings on this, but just reply activation wherever you're at, and I will get you a training on how to do it because it's one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself in regard to core health. Anyway, so doing 2 deep core workouts a week for the first 8 weeks is a great place to start, and then moving more into maintenance. Maybe it's once a week and you just tack it on to the end of your workout on upper body day. Easy way to fit it in. There you go. Okay, so that's something that I'm a big advocate of because until I learned how to strengthen my deep core, I always had this belly pooch that wouldn't go away. Not that and it's not a cure-all. I'm certainly not saying if you strengthen your deep core, you're not going to have a belly pooch. It is one of the factors that will help flatten your tummy in addition to sustainable fat loss, of course. All right. So now when we look at this workout regimen, something else to consider is looking at what makes you happy. As women, we're not driven by discipline as much as men. We need to look at what lights us up, what's exciting, how we can be drawn to this helps us be way more consistent than just hammer in the discipline. Okay, we operate different as women, so let's harness that. Okay, I'm a big fan of discipline, yes, and if I can make something more magnetic for me to just do, then I'm going to do it. It's the concept of power versus force. Are you pushing something? Are you being pulled to something? Cool. Like what makes you happy? For me, in between my sets, often I'm stretching because it just feels so good to stretch. So when I think of going to my workout, I'm thinking, okay, so I have some sets and then I have like so much stretching time and listening to my favorite songs. This is going to be great. Another thing that I do for my workouts is I do not respond to messages maybe once a week. But other than that, I tune out. This is my time for me. That's another way that I can be drawn toward it. Okay. When it comes to cardio, this is different for different people. If you're drawn to cardio, absolutely incorporate that. If you're not, maybe you do something more like walking. Okay, this is a whole other training. I don't want to go too deep on that, but I just want to give you that frame that it's like, okay, we have these structures, progressive overload, deep core. How can I integrate this into my life? What stories could I create? What systems could I create where I'm more drawn to this? For me, I put my workouts after work 2 nights of the weekdays, and I use it to create a second win for my night. So when I go work out, let's say 5 p.m. on Tuesday after work, I get to unplug, I get to stretch. When I'm done with it, I have so much more energy and I have such a better night with my family. Amazing. So then I'm more drawn to do it. Do I arrive at 5 p.m. on Friday and think, I can't wait to get to the gym? No, I don't. But I've done this for 10 years where I know like about 2 sets in, I'm going to be really happy in there. Okay. So lastly, when you're looking at needle moving workouts, we always want to start with assessing first, then building and optimizing foundations, then accelerating with modern tools. So start with assessing. When we customize somebody's workout schedule, one of our clients, they are all different. Literally, nobody's doing the same thing because we need to assess first. Okay, what's your lifestyle? What's your bandwidth like? Okay, if we're working with a high level executive and like she barely has any time when she first starts for workouts and her bandwidth is super low and her cortisol is really high, the last thing we're going to do is put her on a full workout schedule from the get-go, even though that's technically would get her it just doesn't work. We need to look at the lifestyle. We need to look at your current bandwidth and energy expenditure in your life. What do you have available? We just need to gradually move the needle in the right direction. We also need to look at your history, okay? Like, what is your fitness level? What's your experience in the gym? What's your experience with lifting weights? We need to take that into account. So we're just, we're being mindful of, I'm a big fan of expanding your edge. But if we go too far too fast, it's very easy to just rebound and be like, this sucks, I don't want to keep doing it. But if we can just gradually expand, that's how your adherence is going to get really good. That's how you're going to get great results, and you just keep going and you've built such a smart foundation. Another thing that we'll assess with our clients is getting blood work done and seeing, okay, are there some things that need to be rebalanced? If somebody has really high cortisol, we're going to reduce their workout schedule quite a bit because it's actually going to help reduce their cortisol. And then as we get their cortisol in check more with other lifestyle factors, then absolutely we'll get their workouts back up. Okay, so we need to start with assessing before just assuming this is a great workout plan because on paper it's great. Okay, well, there's paper and then there's the human doing it. You aren't a robot. You are a human with a metabolism and hormones and a life, and we need to take that into account. So, hope this gives you some clarity so you can put your energy toward what's most effective, and we'll see you in the next episode.